This episode of the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour is sponsored by the law offices of Alfred Guillaume III, a boutique criminal defense firm located in Washington, D.C. The firm specializes in defending federal criminal cases. You can learn more about the firm by visiting our website at guillaumelaw.com. That's GUILLAUME law.com. Welcome to part 2 of my interview with Harvard Law-trained attorney Jeremi Duru. In addition to being a published author and one of the nation's top civil rights and sports lawyers, Jeremi is an avid fan of hip-hop. He's what we call in our world a real hip-hop head, or someone with OG status. He's been listening to hip-hop since the beginning. You'll see that his hip-hop acumen is on point. We talk about a wide range of music, including his favorite De La Soul tracks, his thoughts on the greatest hip-hop storytelling song of all time, and some of his best memories throughout the years and favorite hip-hop songs. If you want to see what we all look like, please subscribe to my YouTube channel at the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour, and please continue to follow the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome back to the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour. We are still joined by our good friend, professor at law, attorney at law, Jeremi Duru. Sir, how are you?
Fantastic.
And I'm excited to get into this next part of our conversation.
Yes, sir. Me too.
Which, you know, for those who don't know, you are hip hop. Literally, your age, what you listen to, everything about you is hip hop.
Yeah, hip hop is very, very, as for so many people in this world, hip hop was formative for me in many ways. Yeah.
And we talked about our ages a little bit when we were preparing for the interview, and I like to tout my age out as, I'm an expert. I'm 45 years old. I've been around for hip hop forever. But you, sir, are not 45 years old.
I'm not 45 years old.
You're not that much older.
50 years old. 50 years old.
And hip hop just turned 50.
Yeah, no, it's
So you literally are hip hop.
The golden age. It's never been presented to me that way, but
you are. I thought I was, but you are.
That's an incredible thing to hear.
Right.
You know, because of what hip hop is, for that to be said is very powerful.
So we have a tradition here in the studio that we do with all our guests, and some, they go through the motions, and it's not quite as passionate as when you did. We have a lot of vinyl records. We dig through the crates, and we ask the guests to pull out those vinyl records, which are the most important to them, in that I have at that particular time in the studio. You pulled out approximately 7 records.
Yeah.
And I think you would have done more if you could have, but we couldn't fit it all on camera.
That's right.
So I want to take you through some of these records, and one of them I actually picked out for you, and I'll talk about that one last. And I want to take you through, I want you to take us through these records and why you picked them out. I want to start off with, we're going to go right to the top with De La Soul, with the album that you picked out. Please talk about it and say why you picked it out.
Sure, yeah. So De La Soul is my favorite hip hop group. And it's hard
Good choice.
to say that because there's so many incredible hip hop
There
groups.
are.
But they made me feel, I enjoyed the earlier days. Fat Boys was my first love in hip hop. Run DMC and all. But when I heard De La Soul for the first time, the album is 3 Feet High and Rising.
It's right behind you for those people who are looking at the podcast on video.
Yeah, 3 Feet, and the song that really struck me is Potholes in My Lawn.
I've never heard anybody say that before. It's
Really?
a great song, but
man.
So you're a true hip hop head.
Potholes in My Lawn.
It didn't have a video, right? It wasn't a commercial song.
Me, Myself, and I was
the big hit. And Buddy was also another one.
Buddy was a big hit too. Potholes in My Lawn. So what made me fall in love with De La was at a time when hip hop, the common song where we go through all of hip hop from the beginning to the end.
I Used to Love Her.
I Used to Love Her.
Right. From the Resurrection album.
Absolutely. So
Right.
you see, and so when De La came along, it was in the era of a fair bit of braggadocio.
Right. I would say early to mid 90s when De La came along. Really early 90s.
Early 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
Late 80s, early 90s.
That's right.
Actually.
89, 9, yeah. And De La was, they were self-deprecating.
Right.
They didn't take themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
They were incredibly creative with the hooks and samples they were getting.
The samples were soul samples.
Samples. And they were the first ones to really sample in that way. They got sued left, right, and center, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah.
But it was really the beginning of a great deal of sampling in hip hop. And so they were a part of this world that I'd come to love, hip hop, but they were at the same time transcending and changing it. I couldn't get enough. I listened to that album. It wasn't an album, it was a tape.
Right, you had the tape.
I had the cassette tape.
Wow.
Rewind it, play again, rewind it, play again, if anybody's familiar with those.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we used to make tapes from the radio. When you would hear songs on the radio, you make your own tape. And you'd have, the DJ would always talk at the, before the song was finished. I used to hate that and mess up the tape.
That's right.
So De La Soul is your favorite group, but De La Soul is part of a larger collective, which is known as the Native Tongues. So you have Tribe Called Quest, Jungle Brothers, Queen Latifah, Moni Love. You even had Black Sheep in there. So I'm a big Black Sheep guy. I'm a huge Tribe guy. So if you have to choose, and I think I know what you're going to say, De La or Tribe, who you got?
So this is like, we're talking about the Titans.
Right.
This is Mount Rushmore over here. I go with De La.
Ooh, De La beats Tribe.
I go with De La. And I know it's not a popular choice. I know
it's not a bad choice.
But I just, and I love Tribe. I love Tribe. Something about it's tough.
It's tough. It's tough. It's no wrong answer.
And I will say that one, I think Pasta Noose is the most underrated MC.
Oh, okay. I didn't think he was going to say that.
Hip-hop.
Okay.
Nobody's, True Gourmet, rest in peace, is fantastic. Everybody seemed to recognize his brilliance. But Pasta Noose, I feel like he wasn't really respected.
A lot of people who know De La Soul's music might not even know the names of the members because unlike a lot of other groups, they didn't refer to themselves by name that much on the record. And they have difficult names.
Yeah.
With Tribe, you have Q-Tip. Q-Tip is easy to remember. You have Fife Dog. Yep. You have Malik Shabazz. You have so many memorable, like Queen Latifah. You have that's easy. Moni Love. But De La Soul was more of a group than, as far as their sound, they were a unit. They were one.
They were a group. They were a unit.
They weren't
never broke. It broke my heart the way that Fife and Tip fell out.
Right. Have you seen the Michael Rappaport documentary?
Yes, I have.
It's a great documentary.
It's a fantastic documentary. But I always felt like De La Soul was riding together through whatever.
Always.
Nobody was ever gonna go solo.
Straight out of Long Island, New York. Yeah.
I just love them, man.
That's your favorite group. Yeah. So we talked about, you mentioned, before we go on to the next record, you talked about Mount Rushmore. And I'd like to ask your opinion. Mount Rushmore, for those who don't know, I didn't know. It's 4, not 5. Who's on your Mount Rushmore of hip hop? It could be a group, it can be a solo artist, whatever. I know De La's there, so that's that one spot that's gone. Who's got the other 3 spots?
All right. So this is because I am so native tongue influenced. I put them both.
Okay, so Tribe. Look, Tribe is
that's half of the 4.
Half of the 4, but it's not. Tribe is my top 2 groups personally, or Wu-Tang and Tribe. And I think they switch up 1 to 1. Depends on what kind of mood I'm in. But you've got Tribe, you've got De La. Who's going the other 2? Okay. Solo or group, doesn't matter.
Now, okay.
It's a very hard decision.
It's a tough question. And we're talking, it's so hard because are we talking flow? Are we talking
whatever your criteria is, as long as you can defend it, counselor.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna put someone. Nobody's gonna put this person there because we all know the popular choices,
right?
Nas is incredible,
right?
Nobody can say Nas doesn't belong there. You can't say Biggie doesn't belong there,
right? Some people might. Some people, depending on where you're from, might not put.
Some people may not. I guess that's right. I'm East Coast influenced,
right? As am I.
And so,
But I love the West too. Let me just shout out to the West Coast.
I enjoyed as well.
Shout out
Hip-hop,
to LA.
Hey, nationally, absolutely.
My mom's from LA, so okay.
Absolutely.
Los Angeles in the house.
But let me put a storyteller on the board.
Okay. Greatest storyteller.
Storyteller I put on the board is Slick Rick.
Oh, yeah. Well, 100%.
So Slick Rick goes up there.
I agree with you. people talk about Nas being the best or one of the best storytellers, but Slick Rick's story, Children's Story, that song is, an absolute gem of hip hop, right? And that's just one example of a story. He's told lots of stories, but
that's one example.
I can't think of someone who has a better story than that particular record. Like, I mean, I love Nas, and Nas got some good stories, but that story at that time and the flow, it's So Slick Rick's,
it's next level. Yeah,
his first album is next level.
Yeah, that first album is crazy.
He doesn't even have a big discography,
Yeah. No, he's so then, and I think I probably would put
that's
fourth
3.
Nas. I probably would put fourth.
Okay, so
Nas
you're a cerebral guy. You're a professor, so
that's where I go with it. That's where I go with it. I love the lyrics. I love the intricacies.
Right. So no Rakim. Rakim didn't make it.
The microphone guy,
right?
Rakim.
Big Daddy Kane didn't make it.
I mean, how can we limit it to 4?
You gotta choose, man. Look, you gotta choose.
I think I would put.
It's hard.
I would probably put those 4, and then because I think you've got to have a storytelling spot, and which goes to Rick, and then those 4. Then of course I love Rakim. Big Daddy Kane had his own thing, the smooth flow.
Right.
I don't put him in the category of Rakim or some of the other.
I would agree with that.
But he's extraordinary in his own right. I love Biz Markie.
Biz Markie, right, but not for his lyrics.
Not for his lyrics.
Right.
For his beatboxing.
Have you ever been to a party that he DJ'd?
No.
I've been to 2 or 3. The last one I remember was in the Essence Fest in New Orleans, and it was a long time ago. I think it was about 2002. My favorite DJ that I've ever listened to is DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah.
But Biz Markie, the way I was with this guy who's off camera right now. I'm sure I was at that party at that time. What I heard him mix, he mixed "Computer Love" by Zapp and Roger with, I can't remember the Biggie song. It was the Biggie acapella of something. I never heard anything like that before or since. And I was blown away. I was like, and then the whole party, he just carried the party.
He just carried it. I've heard the Biz is extraordinary.
Yeah, Biz, rest in peace, Biz Markie.
Yeah, rest in peace. I met him on the plane once. Man.
Oh, nice.
I met Biz, and at the time, my son, he's currently 6 years old. I got him into the Fat Boys and some of the early hip hop.
Oh wow,
and I got him
you're
into
serious.
Biz.
This is a family affair.
Yeah. I got him into Biz, and so I saw Biz at the airport. Is actually on the way to Minnesota for the Super Bowl.
Wow.
I had some business there. Biz was doing the part. So normally I don't approach people. I know they have their product, but I had to approach Biz.
Of course.
So
how could you not look at that face?
Yeah.
Right?
I said to him, I didn't say, hey. I said, excuse me, sir. I just want you to know that I love what you do.
Right.
And my son loves your music. My 10-year-old son loves your music. And he looked at me, he said, "Yo, Gabba Gabba."
Did you? What's the? I can't. I don't know if I can attract. But the beat of the day, is that the song? It's like a 2-minute song. It may be now. I'm gonna go back and look, and I'll correct if I'm wrong. But I believe it's called the beat of the day, and it's like for kids though that he does. And I don't know what it comes from, but it was streaming one day, and my girls were listening to it. My daughters.
So it may be connected to Yo Gabba Gabba.
Maybe
which is why
so.
He said that, but my son liked Biz from the stuff
right that you taught him, right?
Not this stuff, but Biz obviously thought that I was referencing Yo Gabba Gabba. But let me say, I want to go back. I don't love him for the lyrics, but one song that he had, which was, people call him the Clown Prince of Hip Hop, and I get it, but a song that meant a lot to me was The Vapors.
Oh yeah, that was a great song.
Because
that was the name of the album as well, right?
Yeah.
That was
And it's all about, for those who don't know, it's all about people sleeping on you, and then later when you rise up, they see it. And I guess as a kid, I don't know what sort of dynamic
you are a cerebral guy, man. Woo, gee whiz, I'm intimidated right now. Harvard Law in the building, okay.
So I don't know that those top 4 are what they are, but
those are good choices, solid choices.
20. We could expand it to 20.
You gotta pick somebody. Yeah. So your choices are meet my approval for what that's worth.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So the next record we have, it's behind you right here. It's a single actually, the Run DMC single, the two singles actually, the A and the B side, My Adidas and Peter Piper. Why did you pick that record?
So Peter Piper, I like the song.
Right.
But My Adidas, anyone who's heard that song, it just thumps.
It does thump.
Oh, I mean, you just feel like you're stomping down the street.
And you remember how old you were when that song came out?
Man,
I think
I don't remember.
I don't know 100%. I want. Someone says I want to say 87, 88, but I may be wrong. I have to go back and look. I remember from growing up, but I don't remember exactly the year.
It's probably around there. And but you know what's interesting about it is now as a lawyer, and in today's world, they be getting millions for making that song.
Yeah,
millions.
Adidas got so much free publicity.
So much free
back
publicity.
Then.
You know.
And I mean, literally, like I think I know about Adidas or knew because of that song. Because I remember when we were kids that we used to make this joke, and I'm not going to say the last because this is a family show. I'm not going to say the last letter, but all day I dream about an S. You can use your imagination.
Everybody would pick the yes, yeah.
And that was around the time that song came out. And as far as Peter Piper is concerned, for me, have you ever heard? I just referenced Jeff. Shout out to DJ Jazzy Jeff, who's like an amazing live DJ, as well as on wax. When he records something, he can mix that song. Like, just Google it. People out there listening to this, anybody, Google Jazzy Jeff, YouTube, whatever, Peter Piper mixing will blow you away. I don't know that was humanly possible. He's like DJ Grandmaster Flash. I don't know if you've ever seen him DJ, but like Jeff just takes that to another level. It's like, whoa.
I've never seen Jeff DJ in person.
I've never seen him in person either, only online and listening to his stuff. Yeah. So it's amazing. Our next record that you chose is Mos Def's first record, Black on Both Sides. Why'd you choose that album?
So that album, I tried to choose albums that are that are, Alfred, some albums of any genre have pieces to them.
Right.
And they're kind of discrete pieces. And other albums, they are a comprehensive whole.
Right. Oh,
that album is a comprehensive whole.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's one song. This is a family show, so I'm not going to.
Well, you can say it. That's not. I mean, it's artistic. I know.
I'll let you say it. You bring me in.
We were talking when you first got here, and when you were picking the records, and I said, "What's your favorite song on that album?" And you says, "Well, the reason that this song is my favorite because it's one of the greatest. I don't know if you said one of the greatest or the greatest story, because you're again cerebral guy. You like a good story, ever told in a record." And I said, well, what song are you talking about? Miss Fat Booty.
Yeah, that's right. And it is.
It's a great song. Great sample from Aretha Franklin.
Great Aretha Franklin sample. Great song. And after Slick Rick's storytelling,
right?
The storytelling in that song is, I mean, to me, it's like a novel.
Great story. It is a novel.
It's incredible.
And as a man who's chasing after a woman that ignores you, and then doesn't ignore you, then ignores you again, you can relate to the lyrics if you've ever had that experience. I'm not saying I have, but I'm just saying.
So Mos, and then of course, Mos is Yasin Bey.
Yasin Bey now.
But Mos is, Yasin is certainly one of the most conscious artists that we've ever had in the world of hip hop.
And to me, I love him. I love Talib Kweli. Talib Kweli has a lot of albums.
Yeah.
And they obviously have the Black Star album together.
Right.
But Mos Def doesn't have that many albums. I think he has about three solo, three or four. I can't think off the top of my head. I think it's maybe like four, but under five.
Yeah.
And I think that's just, I mean, he does other things. This is,
You're right. He's an actor.
Activist. So I need more Mos Def in my life, but I think that's an excellent choice. That Brooklyn flow, that was the, that other side, the consciousness, right? Because Biggie has and Jay-Z, they have a different type of Brooklyn flow, but that the Mos Def, really like, whoa. He's just so cerebral and he's just so talented lyrically. It's just, I saw him perform at the Howard Theater in D.C. and he did not disappoint. He did a great job. So the next album that you chose was Criminal Minded Boogie Down Productions. Tell us about that. What that means to you.
Yeah, so Criminal Minded. Did you see the movie Brown Sugar?
Did I see the movie Brown
That's a
Sugar?
silly question. That's a silly question.
It's so funny. We didn't talk about this. I just bought the DVD from Amazon because I like it so much. My wife was like, why are you buying a DVD? I said, look, man, I'm gonna buy this DVD. It's a great movie.
It's a great film. And it begins with a number of hip hop artists.
Right.
I'd say a dozen.
Yep.
And the question that she, Sanaa Latham, I think. Sanaa.
Shout out to Sanaa Latham, yeah.
Yeah, Sanaa Latham. She plays this hip hop journalist. Mm-hmm. And she begins all of her interviews with, when did you fall in love with hip hop?
Yeah.
And I think that the film producers got that from a De La song, I think on the Stakes is High album, where they begin a song saying, when's the first time you heard Criminal Minded?
Yeah, yes, the first time I heard Criminal Minded
exactly was, and you got it, and then it leads into the song.
Oh yeah, so many. Yeah, that's probably, that album is Stakes is High is probably my favorite De La album.
Yeah, Stakes is High.
And that's a hard to do because they got some great albums. But that intro and then the beat that comes after that is like when the beat kicks in.
Can we play that? Do we have that?
Well, you know what? When we edit this, we'll come back and I'll add in that beat.
Man,
being behind the episode.
And the question leads to these incredible. I remember when I was with my boys on so and so street.
Right.
And
drinking a 40 on Lower East Side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
and so every time I see Criminal Minded, I think about that, and I think about how that question,
right? They did bite that off of De La Soul.
So many people because of what Criminal Minded meant to them,
right?
But yeah, they bit that off De La Soul.
Yeah, a lot of biting going on out here in the world. But let's move on to the next album, which is one of my personal favorites as well. Midnight Marauders by Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
Talk about this album.
Let's talk about this one. So De La Soul, I love 3 Feet High and Rising, and I loved Stakes is High. And some other albums I also enjoyed. Balloon, Mind State, and others. I enjoyed them a lot. Mm-hmm. But when you take Tribe's first 3 albums, to me, they are all equal.
Tribe's albums are
all 3 of them. And then the next one is just as good, and the next one is just as good. And Midnight Marauders is the third of the troika.
Right, it keeps getting better and better with Tribe.
Yeah, so when that one came out, I was in college, and I'm like, man, do these guys ever stop? Because I thought Low End Theory was...
Low End Theory was... Low End Theory might be my favorite Tribe album. Yeah, Low End Theory was but, I mean, this is right behind it. And this is an album that I actually pulled for you that you hadn't heard of, which was a mashup of the Tribe and the Far Side, which is called Bizarre Tribe, which is a tribute to both groups. And this is by a DJ known as Amerigo Gasby. I shout him out all the time. He needs to start paying me some money because I'm always shouting him out. But this album is in the style of both Low End Theory. The album art is in the style of both Low End Theory and Midnight Marauders. Mm-hmm. And this album is dope. People go out and buy it.
I've not listened to
it. Right. And I know you have to get home to family and you don't have time to sit around here with us listening to music all day. But if you did.
I wish I did. I wish I had some time because I would love to, because as I was mentioning to you, I just love the Far Side. I love the Far Side. I love Fat Lip. I think Fat Lip is underrated.
Right. And look, these are guys from LA, so you're not all East Coast.
We're not all East Coast.
Right. Our next album that I want to talk about that you chose was a true hip-hop heads album, Mecca and the Soul Brother by Pete Rock and C.O. Smooth. This album is for the hip-hop heads only. What does this album mean to you? Why'd you choose that?
Yeah, so this album, I didn't love every track off the album like some of these other albums we're talking about.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, but they reminisce over you.
Ooh,
this tribute to
if that was it, that's all it needs.
Was straight bang.
Right.
I mean, that song is incredible on every level.
I mean, that beat, I mean, I
Yeah.
mean, you can't.
I'm gonna put that in on the way home.
Right.
On the way home, because that is just, you cannot. I mean, it is dope, and it's for those who don't know, it's a tribute to a friend of theirs who passed away. I think one of Heavy D's dancers. If
Right.
I'm correct. Trouble T.
T. Roy, exactly.
And so it's a moving song.
It is so
It's
moving.
a beautiful
The lyrics,
family-oriented song.
Right.
And
And the
beat
video was
is-
great.
Yeah.
I used to watch this video on, I don't know, I'm sure you remember the box. We used to have to pay for the video call, and that was such a racket. But for some reason, I used to always see that people who was ordering this video a lot. That and Two Live Crew, so go figure. I mean, I don't know. I used to watch them both. So our second to last record that we have here is a true hip hop classic. Not necessarily because of it was so good, but because it's just maybe the foundational, like what I call foundational album. Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew, The World's Greatest Entertainer is the album.
Yes.
And you chose that. You saw that and you were like, what?
Yeah, this was very important for me to choose.
Talk about that.
So Dougie Fresh is, for those who don't know, again, a straight up musician with his mouth.
Right.
He's a beatbox. And so my son, the one who I got into early hip hop.
Now you have three sons.
I have three sons, yeah.
So so the youngest son, the baby, is the hip hop head?
The baby's a Ravens fan.
Okay.
The middle guy's a hip hop guy, and the older guy is actually the musician. He plays a French horn, he plays a mellophone, he's a conductor in his school band.
Wow.
So shout out to all of my boys.
Shout out to the boys.
All my boys, Duru boys.
Duru.
Yes, right. So he came home from school one day, and in music class, he told me they were studying beatboxing.
Wow.
And I guess the homework or whatever was to listen to this YouTube, one of these new school YouTube beatboxers.
And you're like, son,
let
me talk to you.
Let's go and have a real lesson,
yes.
son. And we went back to Dougie Fresh.
Dougie Fresh,
like,
put your ballies on. Yeah,
no,
so
Rick, I was about to, but I need a shoehorn.
Exactly. I mean, and that's all you need to know about Dougie Fresh, okay? Our last album was an album that it caught your attention. It's another album. Again, American Gathering, you better start sending the checks, buddy. As a mashup of De La Soul and Fela.
Yeah.
We listened to a little bit. For those who don't know, Fela was a musician, foundational musician from Nigeria, jazz musician, soul musician, a soulful dude. And he chose to, the DJ, Gazaway, chose to combine those two artists and make one record. So you saw this and you were like, wow. I think you thought at first it was 3 Feet High and Rising.
I did.
Because it's the same cover.
Exactly.
Right?
The left side is the same.
Right.
And then I saw Fela, and my dad's Nigerian.
Oh,
and
nice.
So,
shout out to Nigeria.
Yeah, shout out to Nigeria. So I respect Fela and all that he's done. So I'm interested in listening to this through and through. This I may have to borrow this piece of vinyl.
Yeah, man, you can. In Amerigo, I mean, I don't know where you are, brother. I'm tagging you when this comes, when we release this. I mean, I'll accept credit cards, cash, anything you want to send my way, brother. How could I forget? I was about to say that was it, but how could we forget my favorite artist of all time, Lauryn Hill, and the album of the Fugees, The Score, their second album, actually. Many people think it was their first, but it was their second. Yeah. Talk about this album, what it means to you.
Yeah, so this album was incredible for me. I love the Fugees. I love the diasporic nature of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? From different nations. I love Clef. I love Lauryn.
Lauren is just, what are you going to do?
She's straight next level. And the reason I love this album so much, truthfully, is because of the emergence of Lauryn Hill.
You're
got to see her later, Miseducation Lauryn Hill, which was
right. This set the stage.
Album. But this set the stage, and every time she.
Right. I mean, while you imitating Al Capone, I'll be Nina Simone defecating on your microphone. I mean, think about that line for a second.
That's next level stuff. I mean, Lauryn is just crazy.
And she followed up with what I think is one of the most important albums in all musical history, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
That album is dope.
And she's awesome. When I was in college when this came out, 1996, and I just remember listening to this thing over and over and over and over again. from front to back without skipping tracks.
Yeah, nice.
Which is hard to do, in an album.
It's dope. Man, I love Lauren. I've never seen her in concert, unfortunately. I'd love to. I saw Clef in concert.
Okay, I've seen Lauren, not Clef.
Okay, Clef. I didn't realize he was such an accomplished guitarist.
Right, he's a musician.
I mean, he is really a musician. He was doing things with the guitar. I mean, I felt like I was looking at, old videos of Jimi Hendrix.
Wow.
He was really extraordinary. So I have big respect for Clef as well.
It's that Haitian musicianship. Shout out to Haiti. Sakpase Naboule, all the Haitians out there.
Absolutely.
Professor, I know you got to go.
I wish I didn't have to go.
I know. You're a busy man. You have a family. And I truly appreciate you coming in. Had a great time talking to you. Hopefully you come back. We can talk more. We'll bring in more vinyl records for you to look at. We'll talk more about what's going on with your business and your life.
Yeah, man.
And thank you so much for blessing us with your presence.
Thank you for blessing me. It's been a real, real pleasure. Thank you, Alfred.
No problem. Anytime. You got an open invitation. Come on back.